and show my desktop. And I'm going to guess that it's the main monitor too. There we go. Now on this computer, you see my desktop here. It probably chopped my audio if I move around too much. You notice that I've got two drives on my computer, two primary drives while I use them. So I've got a C drive and I've got a W drive. This happens to be a USB drive. On this computer, I have Shadow Protect, much like you would install, like with the run on screen. And I'm running regular backups about every hour. Now I can run backups as much as every 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and create a file here. A new folder, we'll call this Jason's Important Files. And in Jason's Important Files, we're going to go ahead and create a new document. Jason's critical report there. So Jason, I hate to throw Jason under the bus since I have one of you, but Jason's a little bit of he clicks fast. He's not a patient guy. And he's working on his report, and go ahead and fire this off right now, because my backup's scheduled to go every hour. I will go ahead and let it go now. Jason likes to delete stuff while it's working. So these files he has on his desktop, he was working on the file and he went ahead and instead of hitting save, save as, he hit save, or he went to drag it from here to a network share, and halfway through the process he deleted it. You've never had a user do that, right? So I'll go ahead and fire off the backup, and I'm going to go over to my backup drive, which would be, no, good. My USB drive that is attached. Again, this could be network attached storage. It could be a full-blown VDR server provided by Mission Concept. Either way, they'll help you scale and size the storage that you need. By clicking on a network share. Okay, my backup has completed. That took only a few seconds because we're only backing up the changes that have occurred. I'm clicking through too many screens because I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. Okay, so here I have a small incremental file that was run at 11:06 Eastern. That sounds about right now. Now, for those of you that were paying attention, I have how many drives? I had a C and a D drive on my computer. A C and W drive. Watch this. I'm going to go ahead and Jason calls the help desk. Now, let's say you had a tape drive. If any of you were backing up to tape and a user calls your help desk and says, hey, I just deleted those critical files from last night. The first question you would ask them is, okay, and how important were they? They're really important. Oh, Jason, what did you do that for? Well, when's the last time you saw a file? Well, last Thursday. Okay, this is not good because you're asking yourself, where's last Thursday's tape? You're going to go find last Thursday's tape. You're going to put the tape drive, in the tape drive, and you're going to wait for it to index or catalog. Once you do so, you can hopefully find the files and recover it. I ask this question in the audience a lot. How long does a typical recovery of a file take from a user? They will typically tell you anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. The hardest part is finding the file. So here we just go to the backup files that are stored locally. We find the latest and greatest backup. In this case, it's a few minutes ago that just fired it off, but it could be up here every 15 minutes. I would do this. It's really complex. Pay attention. I'm going to right-click. I'm going to say quick mount. Now you notice I'm not using Shadow Protect software. And yes, it's encrypted, so I detected a password. I'll just close Shadow Protect. We're not even using Shadow Protect software. All I did was right-click on the latest and greatest backup file, and I said quick mount. Now all of a sudden I have this J drive. What the heck is a J drive? Let me show you here. C, J, W, where did this J drive come from? What happened was we just presented the backup file chain, the entire set of backups, to the operating system as a hard drive. So at this point, I now have, it's like I took Jason's hard drive and I attached it to my server and said, here's the files I need, the entire hard drive as of 5 minutes ago. I could go into the folder Users.
That's tight. Yeah, that's cool.
I believe we're under... Jason's important files. Here they are. So Jason's important files. We'll go ahead and drag them. Well, I can drag them to the desktop because they're already there. But yeah, he corrupted them. So yes, I want to replace them. Copy and replace. I've just put Jason's important files back. So we went ahead and deleted those, and they're recovered. I'm done with this. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my J drive. Click dismount, and it's gone. Now, okay, what did I just do? I just right-clicked on a backup file. I mounted it as a drive in my operating system so I could see it, explore it, copy, paste, etc. I just proved the recoverability of the data. Not only did I prove the recoverability of the data, I also just showed you a concept that you can use for a lot of other things. I, in my past life, used this for things like virus checking. Go ahead and scan the drive, corruption testing. It's an exact photograph of the drive. I could run a checklist on it to make sure its integrity is good. Forensic checking. I could go in and find out what else was on there, if you know what I mean. There are a ton of applications you could use. The bottom line is I just proved the recoverability of the data set from that hard drive. I hope that makes sense. Now that I'm done with it, I went ahead and dismounted it. It's as if I never even had to access. The whole time it took to recover Jason's important files, that critical report, was a matter of, 30 seconds? I think it took me longer to remember the password. Second example, you've got your entire server gone up in smoke. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and go to a remote server. Now what we're doing, remember I showed you that we're backing up locally and we're replicating off-site. So I'm going to go ahead and remote to this off-site server. And what we've been doing is we've been replicating those same backup files to that server. You see that my last replication, now you could say the replication may go up constantly replicating throughout the day, or you could do it nightly. In my case, I do it nightly, and I consolidate all the little files into one. It has to do with storage space. In this case, I'm going to, instead of quick mount, I'm going to do something different. I just got a call, and they said, hey, that server's down. Escalated permissions for this. That server is down. It's up in smoke. It's not recovering. We need that receiving back up. It's an application server. It's an exchange server, whatever it is. I right-click on the file. Again, I'm not launching StorageCraft or any fancy software. I'm right-clicking on the file. I'm providing the appropriate permission because we have encrypted the data. And what we're launching, okay, if you're not technical, you can go ahead and tune out for a second. If you're technical, pay attention. What I'm doing is I'm taking the backup chain, that is the full backup and all the incremental backup files that we put together in this folder, replicated. I'm going to go ahead and present those to a hypervisor as a drive. Remember how I mounted the drive earlier? Same thing. I'm saying, hey, here's my VDMK, or here's my VHD, here's my virtual drive. That could be across the network, it could be local, but here's my drive, hypervisor. Go ahead and boot from it. I'm not going to make a copy of the data. Yeah, we'll leave it at 5. We'll give it a down. I'll let that run. So my hypervisor is now seeing that hard drive. It's seeing that backup set as a hard drive. You and I know it's a whole bunch of files, as we can see in this window right here. These are the backup files. There's my original full image, and there's my consolidated weekly, consolidated monthly, and et cetera. So I've got all of these files that make up my backup chain that were replicated over to. I could recover from any one of those time points. So let's say I had corruption, I could go back to 325, or I could go back to this backup file I created on 322. The bottom line is I can move back in time as much as necessary, but for quick recoverability, I'm going to go to the latest and greatest, and I'm going to go ahead and move from it. So here's what's happening. We've mounted the drive, we've presented it to the hypervisor, in this case Sun Microsystems VirtualBox, and we said, hey, hypervisor, this is your drive, boot from it. Now, if you've ever done a server recovery and you try to take a copy of a drive or take a drive or even recovering from like a backup paper, traditionally from an image, and try to boot on different hardware, we all know what the boot screen of death looks like, fatal exception error, some giant hexadecimal number. basically it's Windows saying, excuse me, I don't know how to use this hardware. It's like putting me in front of some big copier or fax machine. I'm looking at it going, what do these buttons do? Blah, throw up a blue screen of that. That's exactly what Windows would traditionally do. And if you've been in that situation, you know that you would go to a repair install or a in-place upgrade, and you'd have to rebuild the hardware abstraction layer. What you see right now in the background is exactly that. We are actually ripping the incorrect hardware drivers out and putting the correct hardware drivers for the new hardware layer, which happens to be virtual, putting those in place so that we can bring this machine back up in a virtual environment instead of a physical desktop. I don't even know what brand this is. I'm looking down at it. It's a white label box, so I don't even know what hardware's in here. But I want to bring it up in a virtual environment. I need to do it now because the users are waiting. I'm not patient, so I keep clicking, kind of like Jason. Sorry, Jason. Any second, we're going to get the background screen. And it's going to present us with, ideally, booting into Windows. There it comes. And it gives me the typical warnings that you're going to have your mouse stuck inside your screen forever, especially when you're remoting into a web server. And that's okay. And I'm going to go ahead and start Windows normally. Now, again, what I've just done is I've remoted to an offsite server where I've been replicating backup files from my desktop. My desktop's backing up to a USB drive, and then I'm replicating those same backup files offsite in case I have a major disaster I need to recover offsite. This is the same thing that Vision Concept Technology will provide for you, either at a secondary location that you have or at your secure data center. So in the event of a disaster, you will simply be able to bring that server back up. And here it comes. Windows is loading. Now, I got technical for a minute. I apologize. Had to do it, but for those of you that are technically minded, you want to understand what's underneath the hood. What is this magic that Vision Concept put together? They've got all these pieces tuned just right, and this is what it will do. Come on. I know you guys are all waiting in anticipation, staring at your screen. And I'm sure this is killing my audio, so thank you for your patience and some of the garbled audio that we get when we're trying to present movement animations at the same time. Now, if your users if you had a major disaster, if you had a second location, you had to get back online, this is the scenario you would go through. Now, you see a Windows screen. If any of you have done a recovery where you've reached the blue screen of death, you know you would not have gotten to this point. During the loading of the hardware abstraction layer, or basically this little dash is going from left to right across the bottom where it's analyzing all the hardware, preloading the drivers into memory. So it knows how to work with the CD-ROM, the audio card, the network card, and all that stuff. That's done. You would never get to a control delete prompt unless you had the ability to get past the reload of a different type of hardware. We call this hardware-dependent restore. If any of you have run VMware Converter in your past life, that VMware Converter was originally our software license to VMware. You get an idea, we kind of wrote the book on the ability to do this. Okay, Mark, so you've recovered my server in the cloud. Yay, we can get back up. What does that take? 7 minutes? 4 minutes? Probably me stumbling through the wrong clicks took longer than anything else. What else could I do here besides get my users back up and operational? Let's say this is an Exchange server, an application server. I've got that backed up. Some of the other possible or probable applications for this is you could actually do this in your local environment. I could have done this on the USB drive. I bring it up, and I bring it up with the network card turned off for obvious reasons. I'm not doing it on the same network. I don't want to have users coming in and hitting the second server. But you can do things like, number one, you can test your recoverability. I know for a fact that if my desktop here crashes or my server were to crash, I can recover in 6 minutes. I know it because I just did it. I did it without having to have a second piece of hardware. I could do it from a USB drive or a network-attached storage that was attached to my local network back at my servers. And I could do it in a matter of minutes. I could go into that server. I could go check the services. I could go check to make sure the Exchange database or SQL database were bounded and consistent. I could go in and, so here's an example. I could go in and run a migration test. This is a lab environment all of a sudden. I could go in and run a virus check or a malware check and find out Has anybody ever gone through an update of patches or anything and had them come out wrong? Surely not. But those are some of the possible scenarios that you could do just by temporarily virtualizing. Now, again, this is a virtual instance of Windows 7 running on Server 2008 operating system. So it's running virtually there. This can be done on pretty much any type of infrastructure.